What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today in this video we're going to be answering all the questions you guys have of how do you level up quickly, what are the best activities, how can you be super efficient, and more importantly what mistakes you shouldn't be making while leveling. There are a lot of mistakes you can easily fall into, and I see a lot of people do these, but I'll be explaining the leveling system from level 1 to 350 and also what to do and what not to do in the process. So as usual with these types of videos, play the game how of course you want to. If you want to go through slowly, that's fine too. This video is made for people wanting to level up quickly and not waste time. So it's pretty similar to the recent expansions for Destiny 1, where the leveling system is broke up into a few main sections. So level 1 to 200 is pretty simple, just do the story, very easy. Level 200 to 265 is a kind of a simpler grind, but I'll go through some of the best activities and really important tips of what not to do during this phase. You then got levels 265 to 300. This is the endgame grind where things get a lot harder and there's only specific things you can do, but as I'll explain, there are some things you shouldn't do up to 265, and if you save them, the 265 plus is going to go a bit easier, but I'll explain exactly what I mean by that. And then of course above level 300 to 350, that is the super endgame and beyond, so that's going to be Raid, Trials of the Nine, Iron Banner, but I'll go over that towards the end of the video. So like I said, to get to level 200 in the first place, it's really simple. Just do the campaign missions, so all the story, the Red War. Do that and eventually you will reach around 200, but it's a really easy process. The slight grind begins after 200. Now, at this stage, this is the easier part. You grind certain activities I'm going to mention. So the main thing you want to do up to 265 is going to be generally patrolling and exploring each of the worlds. Doesn't really matter what one. I found that Nessus is a pretty good one. But whatever you do, stick to one planet, stick to one set location, because you're going to get a bunch of tokens and you can grind one of the NPCs up. Instead of doing like 4 different areas and you got 4 different sets of tokens, try and grind one. I, for example, have got like 100 plus Nessus tokens, and you don't want to waste them too early. You want to save them until the higher levels, then they'll be a bit more helpful to you. Otherwise, right now you can still use blues. So generally you want to do patrol activities, heroic public events. Always try and do the heroic version. It's going to give you more stuff, more blues, and more stuff raising your light level. You want to do adventure missions. You want to do a bit of the world quests, but try not to finish them because the end reward can be pretty high. So you do want to save a lot of those rewards until the end, like I said, 265 plus. And then you also on top of that want to do lost sectors, which will give you some more loot out of those chests. Now, while you're doing all this, like I said, you're going to get tokens for the location that you're actually on. So make sure you turn those in to the NPC like DFMK, Failsafe, Ashimir, or Sloan. Trading those tokens is going to give you extra reward packages. Now, things not to do in this 200 to 265 process: do not infuse stuff. It is an absolute waste of materials. I know you love that exotic you got, but it's going to be a waste. Constantly infusing them every time you get 5 levels is going to waste through your legendary shards, and you're going to need those from Xur, because you use legendary shards to buy exotics from him every weekend. So definitely make sure you're not infusing too often, and especially throughout the raid, that is when you're going to do a lot of infusion. So try and save those legendary shards. You're constantly going to be getting blues that raise your light level. Now, another thing not to do is not to worry about being your absolute highest level all the time, because the game calculates your level regardless of what you have on. So it isn't important anymore. It was in Destiny 1, but in Destiny 2, you don't have to have your highest gear on when decrypting engrams or completing activities. The game is literally going to go through your vault. Other characters is always going to be trying to figure out what is the highest level you can be, and then it's going to drop you something appropriate to that level. So it does, of course, help with your power level in terms of beating enemies. It's definitely worthwhile to beat the most powerful you can be, but it doesn't matter all the time about being the highest level in terms of your drops. They're always going to be calculated for you, so don't worry about that stuff. Just use what you're most comfortable with and try and be the highest level possible. Another thing not to do is save your engrams for later and basically hoard them up. Again, this was something you could do in Destiny 1, but isn't the case anymore, especially not legendaries, because those barely drop higher than your light level. Exotics drop a little bit bigger, but again, don't save them up, just open them as you get them, because they're not going to raise the longer you save them. So things you do want to do during this phase is save luminous engrams. These are like hybrid legendary exotics. Try and do the activities that give you them in the first place later on. Don't do them like 340, 330, because then you're going to get some low level stuff. And if you can, leave them at the vendor, because luminous engrams are pretty special. They don't actually get a determined light level until you pick them up. So when you grab the engram, it's going to be set at a determined level. If you leave them with the vendor and hope not overlap it, if you leave them there, it's going to still raise, so you can go back and come back 5 levels higher. And that luminous engram at the vendor is still going to be 5 levels high. It's going to be constantly raising. So the second you grab it, then it's set in stone. But until you grab it, it's not going to be. So make sure you only grab it when you want to raise your light level. Otherwise, you can kind of leave it there and get a good reward later on. So that's just about everything you want to do and not do around 260 or 265. Now, beyond that is the grind to 300. Now, this is the main endgame grind, and this is going to be a lot harder. You basically hit a brick wall. So, like I said, if you save the things I said and didn't do the things I said not to do, this should be a little bit quicker. And the reason you hit sort of a brick wall around 260 is because those blues are not going to be helpful to you anymore, and even legendaries stop being helpful too. So you need special legendary drops, so packages from vendors, things like exotics and other special drops that are going to be higher than 365, and also quest items. So the things you want to do between 260 and 300 to try and get there is world quests firstly. So all the world quests, like I mentioned, you want to save them, and especially the final steps of them, because they will drop you cool gear that drops above your light level. Also flashpoints, this is a massive collection of public events. These can be milestones that give you a prestigious item. This can be really helpful for raising your light level. Also meditations, you can do these with a core array, and those basically replaying story missions. Now, you also want to do things like general milestones to drop you any kind of powerful gear. If it's a milestone that gives you something good, make sure you save that until this phase. That should help you. And then you also want to, of course, do the Nightfall strike. This is going to be a very difficult strike, but it's going to give you a ton of stuff. So not only do you get stuff from the strike itself, from the chest when you defeat the boss, but also when you go back to Zavala, he's going to give you even more powerful gear. So Nightfall is a very good source. And then also on top of that, exotic quests, so the Minor Multi-Tool, the Sturm, or the Rat King. I know it's really tempting to try and do these early as quick as possible and rush through them, but ideally you want to save these for the end of the game towards 260 plus, because these again can raise your light level, plus they're exotics. They're going to give you a massive boost in light level. So don't do the Mida, Sturm, or Rat King early. I know it's very tempting, you want the exotics, but we're going to have months and weeks to play with this stuff. Try and wait until you're at least 260 and then grab it, and it's going to raise your light level and be a big help. So then towards the end of that, you of course have the final light level of 350, which is currently the highest known light level you can reach. Now for this, you of course want to do the super endgame stuff, so the raid prestige mode, Trials of the Nine, Iron Banner. All these kind of things are going to get you high level gear that drops you towards 350, and that's going to be the main endgame grind. But again, it's going to take a long time to get there. But essentially, that is a breakdown of all the leveling systems into chunks, and hopefully you guys can make use of these tips. If you found this video helpful in any way, then a like rating would be much appreciated. Leave a comment down below. What level are you right now in Destiny 2 and how you're getting on? I'd love to know what you guys are up to. If you want to watch another video from me explaining how you get exotics and exotic engrams, then click the image on screen right now to be taken to that video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.